Hi, welcome back to CrossTalk podcast. I'm Tomoya.
Hi, I'm Andrea.
Today's episode comes from a listener request, Kakeru NX.
All right. Thank you, Kakeru, for writing in. We appreciate it.
So our listener went to an Okonomiyaki restaurant in Japan with their partner, who is a pescatarian.
Okay. So pescatarian is someone who only eats seafood, but they don't eat meat. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right.
And their partner wanted to try a specific type of okonomiyaki that only come with meat.
Aha. Yeah, there is that, right? There's like butadama special or whatever.
Yeah. So they asked the staff, can you replace the meat with seafood? And the restaurant said no.
Oh, no.
Now, here's the frustrating part. The restaurant had seafood okonomiyaki on the menu, different style, but still the seafood was right there in the kitchen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there is usually like a ika or ebi combination.
Right.
Yeah.
So our listener was like, why can't you just use the seafood?
That would be kind of my thought too. Yeah.
But the answer was still no. And that's what sparked today's topic.
Oh, okay. This is a good topic, actually. And this is a topic that is coming up more and more in social media as a lot of international travelers come to Japan. So it is a very good question and a very good topic.
And what do you think about this story?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I have mixed feelings. I think, like, as an American, Americans often want to do this. Like, they want to swap out ingredients or customize things. And I think we've talked about this before on the podcast a long time ago. If it's for something like this person in question is pescatarian, so they have a dietary restriction. They don't eat meat. So for someone like this, I think it's fine. It should be, the store should at least, if not swap out the ingredients, maybe suggest something else. Like, oh, I can't do that, but I can give you this instead, or we have the seafood one instead.
Right.
They could kind of suggest something else.
Right. And I totally get this listener's frustration.
Yeah, definitely.
And then keep listening no from the staff is really frustrating.
Yeah.
If I were them, I would think like, oh, can you show me a little bit of a respect or,
Yeah, I think it's difficult on both ends because like a lot of people do actually have dietary restrictions, whether it's religious, like there's a lot of Muslim people visiting Japan, sometimes Jewish people, like Jewish people don't eat pork also, and they don't eat octopus and squid also. So some people like do have legit religious dietary restrictions, and some people honestly have food allergies. Like a lot of people have allergies to certain seafoods and vegetables and fruits.
Right. And some people struggle to find a restaurant they can enjoy.
Yeah, actually that's a big issue in Japan.
Right.
So I understand both sides. The customer wants to eat really great Japanese food. They've paid a lot of money to come to Japan on holiday, and of course they want to try okonomiyaki.
Right.
But then like there must be some issue on the store side, on the restaurant side, why they can't do it.
Right. In this case, especially, it's just swapping from meat to seafood.
Right.
It's fairly easy process.
Yes.
I also experienced this in Australia when I was working in a kitchen.
Okay.
The server takes order, and sometimes a few customers ask the customization. For example, they want gluten-free food, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
And the server takes memo, gluten-free. When the restaurant gets busier, I can really pay attention to the each dockets, or
because
the
you were
receipt.
cooking, right? You were cooking.
Yeah. So usually I do autopilot.
Okay.
Everything have steps.
Right.
That already have fixed.
Right. Like a step, like steps, like order that you do things in.
Right.
Yes.
So sometimes when the things gets really busy, this customization process could skip.
Yeah, from the cook's point of view, yeah, definitely it's more complicated. From the server's point of view, it's not that difficult. It's just taking the order and relaying that order to the cook. The cook has the bigger responsibility of following through and making that to order.
Right.
So I do understand like that would be a problem. I also had one idea. I have a friend who's a chef, actually, and he said at the restaurant where he works at, when they order ingredients, they're doing like banquets and wedding dinners and stuff. They order exactly the amount of things they need. So if they're serving like 100 people, they'll order 100 tomatoes and 100 salads and 100 steaks. They don't have extra things. So they're not able to swap things out because they don't have extra things to swap in and out. There's no extra ingredients.
Right.
And if that's the case for a restaurant, then that's just how they do business. Right? I mean, if you tell them beforehand, then they can put that in the order and they can do it probably. But like on the spot, no, they can't. He said, no, they can't do that.
Yeah. So each restaurant business has their own style, so I can't say potential reason that they couldn't get this customization.
Right. I also like as a customer, I noticed one thing, and I'm not trying to be rude about Japan, but when you go into like, so say like you go to an izakaya and you ask for something to be like slightly customized, or don't put negi on top of my thing, like the servers are usually like high school kids,
right,
or like they don't have any experience. They don't know what to do.
Right.
And they haven't probably been trained properly, like how to deal with customers asking for special stuff. So in that case, it's just like, well, what are you going to do? Like this person has no training and they're really young. They have no experience. So,
right.
They're just following the handbook.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
If I were a restaurant owner of this Okonomiyaki restaurant, I would happy to take customers' request.
Sure. I had one experience. I went to a restaurant. It was a Vietnamese cafe. And the food was awesome, by the way. I just want to say it was really good food. But the friend I went with was trying to customize her coffee, and the staff didn't speak English or Japanese. They only spoke Vietnamese. I'm American, but I speak Japanese. My friend was from Thailand. She speaks English and Thai. No one spoke Vietnamese, so we couldn't make our order understood, and we just gave up. And my friend just said, okay, just like as it is on the menu. Like she wanted like something added to it, I think. And she's just like, okay, forget it. It's just I can't make myself understood. Right. So there's that too. Like if you're dealing with servers who don't speak your language and they're not really open to trying to figure out what you want, Yeah. That was a special case. That's probably not the case with this Okonomiyaki restaurant. Yeah.
I guess restaurant can offer a bigger portion of food, like omori.
Okay.
That's probably typical customization we can get.
In Japan.
In Japan.
Yeah, in Japan. Yeah. Yeah, and only at some places, though. Some places don't offer that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I also guessed this Okonomiyaki restaurant, they might had a bad experience about taking customization order from Western people.
That's true.
And they don't want to mess up with a customer.
Right, that's true. Also, like you mentioned when you were in Australia, the gluten-free issue, like sometimes if the order... I mean, for example, like okonomiyaki, just swapping out seafood instead of meat, that wouldn't change much. But for example, if you're swapping out like gluten-free ingredients for regular ingredients, that would completely change the entire menu.
Right.
That would like mess up the recipe. You have to have like a whole separate recipe for that, I think, for some cases.
Yeah. This gluten-free menu item seems very similar to the one original, but it might be totally different process.
It's totally different, yeah. Because like, for example, pasta is gluten. It's made from wheat. But if you take gluten-free noodles and you put them in the same recipe, it's going to react to the sauce differently, probably. So it needs to be a recipe that's made only for gluten-free, right? You can't just swap it out that easily. That's one thing.
Yeah. And then that's one of the reasons I didn't want it to work in a restaurant.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
It's complicated.
And actually, my friend who's a chef said, like, a different friend actually who's a chef said that's really frustrating for him too. He owns his own restaurant, but like having to deal with everyone's special orders and allergies, and suddenly everyone's allergic to everything. Like it's really, really hard to have a consistent menu that is, where you can be responsible for the quality level. I'm not like defending one side or the other. I think it's just an issue that is, I don't want to say popular, but it's being talked about a lot right now, especially in Japan, right?
Yep.
By the way, if you guys have any experience with like customizing orders, what are your experiences with that? We'd like to know. So please join us on our live stream Thursday at about 6:30 p.m. Japan time. We'll be talking about this more on Thursday evening, and we'd love to hear from you guys too.
On YouTube.
Yes, on YouTube.
Okay, let's move on to the next section. Our listener also asked this, is Japan behind for vegetarian food?
Okay, that's a really good question, actually.
Have you ever had a trouble with finding a vegetarian food, vegan food in Japan for your friends?
Actually, yeah. Vegetarian food, so. There are options, but they're limited. Vegan food is really hard to find where we live. We're not in the big city, but like there's one or two vegan restaurants, but they close really early. So you can never go out to dinner with your friends. You can go to lunch maybe if you make a reservation like three weeks in advance, but it's really hard to find vegan food. Yes.
Yes.
How about you? Have you had any trouble finding vegan or vegetarian food? Or have you looked?
I'm not a vegetarian, but I can imagine it's very hard to find a vegetarian food restaurant in Japan, Okayama especially, where we live.
Yeah, and actually I have a friend who is vegetarian. She's not even vegan, she's just vegetarian. And we went to a really nice cafe a few months ago. She had called the cafe beforehand to make sure the menu was vegetarian friendly. And the owner said, yes, it is. So we get there, we order the lunch set, and I had the same thing. And it was like kind of a washoku set thing, but it was very like, contemporary cafe style. One of the dishes had chikuwa in it. The chikuwa is made from fish. So my friend was like, you can have this dish. And I'm like, oh, isn't it vegetarian? Can you not eat it? She's like, no, it has fish in it. I'm like, oh, okay. But like there's still a lot of misunderstanding on the part of some restaurant owners and chefs. Like, what is vegetarian? Just because it's not shaped like a fish, doesn't mean that it's okay.
Right.
And like, I didn't even talk to my friend about dashi, the issue of dashi, because dashi is made from fish usually too, right?
Yeah. Dashi is everywhere in Japan.
Yeah. And so I was just like, oh, I'm not going to ask. But like, there is a question, right?
Yeah. Literally, she have no choice eating vegetarian food.
I mean, if it's truly vegetarian, you could make dashi from wakame or shiitake, like dried shiitake. Doesn't have to be katsuo, but I didn't want to ask the restaurant owner just because it just would have been, oh, maybe she can't eat anything on the menu kind of thing. And my friend speaks Japanese. She's aware of the issue.
It is. This is a different topic, but a long time ago, I was on the diet and I wanted to eat only certain type of food, no fried chicken, fried things.
Fried things, yeah. Fried things are very bad for you.
Yeah, so I wanted to take in more protein.
Okay.
I was looking for healthy food.
Okay.
But there's no restaurant serve this kind of food.
Yeah, in restaurants, it's really hard to find healthy menus because everything is really carb heavy in Japan.
Right.
Everything is noodles or rice. There's no vegetable piece.
Right. And I always fried chicken, and
lots of fried food.
Things come with this bento and
that's true.
Lunch menu. I didn't have much choices.
Right. The choices are limited if you have strict dietary restrictions like that.
Yeah. So I can kind of imagine and trying to guess how hard it is to find vegetarian food, vegan food in Japan.
Yeah, like truly vegetarian food is hard. You can go, like if you're a tourist and you are touring around Buddhist temples, some temples will offer shojin ryori, but you have to reserve it in advance. You can't just oh, I'm hungry right now, I want to eat right now. You have to reserve it like months in advance or weeks in advance, and it's expensive.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not cheap.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really not cheap.
My image of Shojinjori is, reasonable, healthy.
No, like the temple food is very expensive usually.
Okay.
5,000 yen
Wow.
for lunch.
That's
pretty high.
That's more than I expected.
Yeah. I mean, you can get like tofu-based restaurant stuff, and that's usually pretty good, but
Another problem is eating healthy food makes you feel happy, but probably a few hours later, I feel really hungry.
yeah, because you haven't eaten enough carbs, so you get hungry right away, right? The carbs is what fills you up, and that's, I think, why Japanese people eat so much rice, is because it helps you fuel yourself throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
For working.
I've heard also this word, carbo addiction.
Oh, definitely.
I think I was, maybe I'm still.
Yeah, I mean, because it basically carbs turn into sugar in your body, right? And the sugar in your body is what gives your brain the high, that high feeling, that happy feeling. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I am too. I'm not judging. I am too. I love me some Danish. I love me a donut.
Donut addiction. You have a donut addiction.
Or even just like cheese bread. I just love bread. Yeah. But yeah, like if you're trying to be strict with either like watching your carb intake or being vegetarian or vegan, or, you have some dietary restriction, Japan can be really hard. But I think if you're looking for a sit-down meal at a nice restaurant, it's hard. However, if you go to convenience stores, it's getting better.
Yeah.
There's more options recently.
Right. Do you think Japan will be a vegetarian, vegan-friendly country someday?
I think so, because there's a lot of international tourists coming in Japan. Japan relies on that tourism very heavily. And in the bigger cities, you can already see a lot of restaurants are starting to cater more towards Muslim guests, Muslim visitors, and offering halal or, Muslim-friendly food. And I think it will, hopefully become more vegetarian and vegan friendly.
Okay.
Which, would be nice, because you think about Japan. Japan is originally a Buddhist country, Shinto and Buddhism. Buddhists are vegetarian. Like, this should be a vegetarian country originally, right?
I think so.
I mean, like, Japan didn't start eating meat until, the Americans came in.
Right.
The Koreans came in, actually.
Probably changed our whole food system.
Yeah, actually, I think it was Korean influence bringing in pork, and then Americans brought in beef. But like until then, Japanese people essentially ate fish, vegetables, and rice, right? Not a lot of meat.
Right.
So if you want to be, a stickler about it, like Japan is a pescatarian country originally.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we can go back to that era.
No, I don't think so. But no, I don't think so either. I totally agree. But it would be nice to kind of have some options, like traditional Japanese food.
Right.
Like that's really traditional, not influenced by the Portuguese or, the Americans or the Koreans. Yeah.
I guess we need a wake-up call.
Yeah, that's
for
a good
food selection.
Yeah, I think it will come. Maybe not right away, but like Americans generally eat pretty bad. We eat like really unhealthy food, and that started probably in the 50s and 60s. Like when women started working outside of the house, the instant food business became really big, and like then fast food business became really big. But now people are starting, like you said, get that wake up call when the nation's health, everyone's health starts getting really bad. Then that's the wake up call, and people are starting to eat healthier now.
Right.
And I think it will happen for Japan too.
Yeah.
Japanese people in general are very conscious about what they're eating more than Americans are. So
going back to our listeners, Kakeru NX-san, his story telling us, this vegetarian food. But I think maybe it's not a problem with restaurants, not a problem with the customer side either. So it's probably the system isn't ready for this customization.
Okay. So it's not like the stubbornness of the restaurants. It's just they don't have a system in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could easily be true.
All right. That's all for this episode.
All right. We'd love to hear from you guys. Have you ever struggled to find vegan or vegetarian food in Japan? Or have you ever struggled with trying to customize your order? What's your story? Let us know.
You can send us your answer on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. We might feature your comments in a future episode.
All right. And again, thank you to our listener, Kakeru NX, who sent us this great topic for today. All right. This is CrossTalk, signing off, bringing you English your way every week.
Keep listening and keep shining.
Bye.